myself or Mary Ellen or Kerry, or you're one of the panelists when it's your turn to speak. So that can help with the background noise. And also, if you could, so for introductions, what we'd like to do is we'd like you to introduce yourself in the chat space. So if you don't mind typing your name and your business or organization you're with and your email address, those three things, that would be great. Obviously, a lot of us know each other, but we're hoping that we're going to be making some new acquaintances this morning as well. So yeah, please take a minute or so to introduce yourself via the chat space. And then what I'd like to do is, before we get into the body of our information system, I want to introduce Kerry Bell and Mary Ellen Hanna. So for those, although neither of these people need introductions, but I'm going to do it anyway. So Kerry, as most or all of you know, is the waste diversion and outreach coordinator for Teton County Integrated Solid Waste and Recycling, and she's the one of the key faces and instigators, and in my mind, co-conspirators in our community to help our community's businesses and organizations become more sustainable through her really steady work at ISWR and her personal passion for sustainability. And then Mary Ellen Hanna is actually Kerry's predecessor at ISWR, and Mary Ellen is the Riverwinds project manager for our Business Leaders Program. She's also a gifted writer and editor of Green Matters in Jackson Hole that hopefully most or all of you have seen at one time or another. And she's one of our visionaries in terms of rethinking the program to create the 2.0 program, which she'll be talking about a little bit later this morning. So welcome to Mary Ellen, as well as to Kerry. And then for me, most of the names I see pop up I recognize, but I'm the director of the Riverwind Foundation, and we are the coordinating entity, the managing entity for the Jackson Hole and Yellowstone Sustainable Destination Program, which includes our really valuable partnership with ISWR for the RR Business Leaders Program and what we call the Hot Shots Program as well, which is training young and upcoming green collar professionals to work in the RR Business Leaders Program and beyond. So with those introductions, what I'd like to do is to turn over our meeting over to Kerry, who will have some words about the history of the RR Business Leaders Program. So Kerry.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, so I think some of you might be surprised that RR Business Leaders has been around for about 14 years. It was originally started in 2007 and has always been the local or a local green business certification program and membership-based organization for businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies. So having been founded in 2007, it was given a fresh start or facelift, if you will, in 2014. And then now again in 2021. So the program has always been managed by ISWR, through staff here at the Recycling Center. But in 2019, we decided that a partnership between the Riverwind Foundation and ISWR was best suited to meet the needs of the RR Business Leaders Program. That additional time and staff would be helpful for everybody, for the administration and for the actual business leaders. Additionally, over the years, we've had several groups of what we call hot shots, and they are local fellow sustainability minded individuals that assist us with recruitment, finding new businesses that are interested, helping refine the application process, which we'll get to a little bit more later. And also assisting with the application process, assisting the businesses with walking through the questions, answering questions as they pop up. And the hotshots have really been crucial to the expansion of the program over the years, and just to the hands-on, feet on the ground aspect of the program, drumming up business, if you will, and getting people interested and involved. So how to join? If you're not already a member, joining is relatively easy. So businesses interested in joining our Business Leaders program can fill out the application on our website. And I'm going to share the link in the chat box here in just a moment, but so it'll take you directly to the page where the applications live. But I'm also going to share my screen quickly, just to show you what the landing page looks like and what to expect when you get there. Tim, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen?
I can.
Perfect, thank you. So once you're at our Road to Zero Waste JH page, you're going to click on the Business Leaders program if you're not using the direct link. And this has just so much information, and including last year's Corin Green JH program. So if you want some extra sustainability tips, these are available. It was a program that we developed while we were all quarantining last year. But anyways, it goes through all the benefits, which Mary Ellen's going to get to more. However, the actual applications are here. And so there's really just 3 applications. And if you're a restaurant, you're going to click the restaurant application. All other businesses are just going to pick the general Business Leaders application. And then there are the instances of a green event application. And so the assessment really goes through, all aspects of sustainability in your business, from reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, energy usage, transportation. It really hits the large umbrella of sustainability. Even asking about volunteer opportunities that your employees may have within your business, and how to support the community. So we really ask about the full gamut of sustainability. So if that's intimidating to you at all, Tim, Mary Ellen, myself, the hotshots, we are available to help you through the application process if that eases any nerves, because it can be intimidating if you're kind of getting your feet wet when it comes to sustainability in your business. So we are more than happy to do that. And after you fill out the application, your application is scored, and we will let you know if you are our newest RRR Business Leaders member. So now I'm going to pass it off to Mary Ellen to talk about the RRR Business Leaders 2.0.
Thanks, Kerry. Any questions on that application real quick before we move on? I know many of you many of you did it maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And some of you have maybe done it recently. And some of you may be listening in here to see if you'd like to do it. I just want to emphasize what Kerry said about us being here to help you. That application is not meant to evaluate you and score you pass fail. It's meant to be a conversation starter on your sort of path to sustainability. And we want to be here to encourage you in that, to help you with questions that you have, and to introduce you to this team and others in the community who are doing the same thing, who have the same goals, who have some of the same experiences and struggles, and you're set up well for success. And that's what we want our application and our process and our program to say. So please don't be intimidated, and please don't be shy about asking for help or reaching out. That's what we're here to talk about today, is let you guys see each other's faces and know that our 3 faces are also here to just facilitate all the good synergy that comes from this group. My job in our agenda today is to talk about the new chapter, the 2.0. And I'm realizing maybe just today, that was sort of our draft name for this program. We sort of just called it 2.0 almost as a joke, and then we never went back and named it or fixed that at all. So if anybody has an idea for a new name, that's probably something we should ask this group to focus on going forward. But for now, we'll call it 2.0. And like Kerry said, what that means is the next iteration of this program as of 2020 is kind of what we did while we were quarantined, and how we what we came up with after thinking about the program and thinking about where it should go and how we should keep it going for the future. And it's very simple. What the program started out as was something much smaller, and it was just a simple recognition by ISWR with dollars from the outreach budget to recognize any businesses that were recycling or that were, interested in conserving energy. And that was fine for a while. Now the program is huge. We have almost 200 members, and we're no longer able to recognize people in a meaningful way. 200 newspaper ads, for instance, is not really, it's very expensive and it's not that effective. We have social media, which makes it a little bit simpler. But really, in looking at other programs and other experiences that Kerry and I had at ISWR, as far as what helps us do our job, we looked at some programs that are more in the model of a networking group or a professional organization where the members themselves are guiding the program, are learning from each other, are supporting each other, are partnering with each other. And it's sort of a self-propelling system where all the money you put in then comes back to you and the other members. All the time you put in does the same. All the struggles you have are everyone's struggles, and all the successes you have are everyone's successes. So that's what we're trying to create. That's what 2.0 refers to. I still don't know what to call it, but that's what we mean. In short, there are three sort of arms to this new program. The first one is what we're doing now, quarterly info sessions. And I say quarterly in quotes. That's a goal. We may not have one every quarter. We may get lucky and have 2 great topics within a quarter, but almost quarterly information sessions. This one, the topics are introductory, but down the road, we hope to plan topics based on your questions and your experiences and the things that you want to learn about. So a way to come together quarterly and learn something new or share stories about your experiences and have you all sort of sharing information. The other one is a grants program, and that we are going to launch that this year. We will have an application process in the August-September timeframe, and then the awards in September, early October timeframe. This is a pilot year. I can't make any promises at this point about the amount of the grant or how it will go, but we have to start somewhere. So we're going to just get started. The idea is that a portion of the dues that you pay into the Business Leaders Program will then be up for grabs, basically. And if you are a business leader member and you have a project that you want to take on, composting at your restaurant, for instance, or training summer employees, you are going to be able to propose that project to our grants committee, and then we will award one or more members some extra funding to help in support of their project. And we're hoping this program can grow. But what makes it special is that the grant is only open to members and it's awarded by members. So it's your grant program. And I really like the sound of that. Of course, it's new and we're wanting feedback and we're wanting people to participate in the process. So if you're interested in being part of the grants committee, we'll all be experimenting together. So send us a message about that or let's talk about it. So info sessions, grants program. And then as we come out of COVID and we sort of spend more time talking to each other, we're hoping that this group offers some more networking opportunities. Maybe we partner with things like green drinks, sustainability series, but some more chances to get together and just have these conversations and these shared experiences. We're trying to make you all be friends with each other. And I don't know. There's probably a way to say that too, but I'm not coming up with the language today. So that's 2.0 in a nutshell. If you'd like the not nutshell version, the really wordy version, instead of sharing my screen, I'm just going to share my paper. This is a page that's downloadable from the recent issue of Green Matters, which you can find online at the Riverwind website. I will type that into the chat in just a second, but you can download, it's sort of a one-page brochure on what the Business Leaders Program has been and what 2.0 involves. And it's got a cool chart that Origin Media made for us. So that's a starting point if you'd like to kind of read the finer details or reach out to us at any time. Questions about 2.0? Is anybody, yeah, you can type into the chat or shout them out now if you'd like to unmute yourself. And if not,
or raise your hand in your window.
I know, my window's really small. Okay, well, I'll keep an eye on the chat. If you have anything, type it in. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Tim and his panel of speakers to amaze and entertain you.
Okay, well, we'll see about the amazing and entertaining, but hopefully create awareness and add to your knowledge about opportunities to become more sustainable along your sustainability journey. Before I do that, though, however, I'd like to just make a mention about the BEST program. Most of you probably have heard about the BEST certification program. BEST is actually an acronym. It stands for the Business Emerald Sustainability Tier of the RRR Business Leaders Program. Only RRR Business Leaders are qualified to apply for, be accepted into the BEST certification program. And if you like, the BEST certification program is essentially, it's a graduate level training and technical assistance program and course for those RRR Business Leaders that want to take it to the next level beyond just the RRR Business Leaders program and actually receive third-party certification and recognition for the good work that you're doing. And so my note to you is, if you're interested in finding out more about that, would like to chat with me about the BEST certification program, just let me know via the chat or contact me. Otherwise, I'll leave my contact information in the chat window as well. Now, our panel today is going to be focused on something that perhaps a lot of us don't think about until we're some distance along in our sustainability journey. And that is, how do you sustain your sustainability efforts? One of the most significant challenges that I think any of us experiences, given that we have our day jobs, if you will, that we we're running a business or we're working for a business, that we're consumed with sort of the daily and monthly tasks that our jobs and businesses entail. How do we continue with the effort to be sustainable along with everything else that we're doing? And so the sustainability journey has a lot of bumps in the road in it, and oftentimes it's because of the demands to continue to stay focused on your sustainability efforts. And if you're the team leader, the green team leader for your business organization, it's keeping your team members focused as well. And so our panelists, which I'm about to introduce to you, are going to be addressing sort of one of the key issues that we all face, is that how do you, in a practical way, how do you maintain the level of effort that each of us needs to become more sustainable, to strengthen our sustainability practices? In other words, what do we do in a practical way to sustain our sustainability efforts? And so what I'd like to do is introduce our panelists. But one housekeeping note: if you do have a question, please ask that question either in the chat room or secondarily, raise your hand. There's a reactions icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can do the raise hand icon. So either through the chat room, which is what I would prefer, or the reaction room hand raise, please indicate whether you've got a question or not. And we'll save those questions until each of the panelists have taken their 5 minutes to talk about how they sustain their sustainability journey. So our panelists today, and thank you for for each of you for being willing to share your stories and based on your experience, your recommendations, guidance to the rest of us on how to maintain or sustain your sustainability efforts. And so our panelists are Wes Gardner, the owner of Teton Toys and some other businesses that will be operating and opening soon in Utah. John Dyer, who's the environmental manager for Grand Teton Lodge Company. Elizabeth Ferguson, who's the project manager for New West Building, former leadership of Habitat for Humanity. And then our anchor person is Riley Francis Harris, who's the operations manager for the Jackson Hole Chamber of Commerce. So with that, if each of you as panelists could take 5 minutes to share your story and recommendations to the rest of us, would be much appreciated. So Wes, would you like to start?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. My name is Wes Gardner. I'm Teton Toys, and I'm also a member of the ISWR board. And I've been on the steering committee for this reboot, if you will, of the RRR business leaders. So it's been really fun to kind of have a foot in multiple camps and be able to communicate between those camps. I guess my story starts with, I opened my business, and after a couple of years, started to realize that I needed a little guidance when it came to doing what I do in a more sustainable way. I was doing the best I could, but I really didn't know what I didn't know. And so heard about the RRR business leaders, was really excited, happy to join, and learned a lot in that first year, and have progressed now to applying for the best membership. And in that process, I've really been exposed to all kinds of new ideas, new ways of thinking that I hadn't really considered before. And so I'd really encourage you, if for me, I came to this because I know I'm kind of on the wrong side of the equation as a business person. I create a lot of waste, and it's really important that to me that I reduce my impact. So that's kind of how I came to it and how I've grown in it. As far as sustaining sustainability, I would say joining the program really helped our business think about sustainability in a more managed and a more detailed way. But it wasn't until we started to go through the steps that are encouraged in the program that we started to create real accountability. And I think that's, in a business, accountability is everything. If you don't have an accountability structure, then things, despite your your best hopes at the outset, things tend to fall apart, kind of entropy. So the first thing we did, I put somebody in charge. I'm a small business, about 7 employees in each store, and I just put my manager in charge. And fortunately, I was working with an individual who shared my passion for reducing our waste stream and reducing our impacts. And she really took the bull by the horns. The lesson there for me was I'm overwhelmed with everything that I do in my business life. And if I had tried to do that on my own, that would have been too much, and I would have been spread too thin. She is my manager. She's got a lot too, but she was able to really take the bull and run with it. We built a plan. We codified that plan in our employee manuals. We proselytized, if you will. We really tried to spread the word to each member of our group. And then and I think this is probably the most important thing that we do. We measure our waste. And that's important for so many reasons that I hadn't really understood before I started doing it. But once you start to measure something, it takes on your reality shifts. You start to think of your waste as a negative asset. I step on the scale every time I take the cardboard out. I step on the scale every time I take the trash out, as do all of my employees. So 4 to 5 times a week on average, every employee is stepping on the scale to measure our waste. And we have, of course, the downstream effects are we have robust data for the business leaders program, the best program, to analyze to see kind of what the expectations are for a retail store like mine. But really, what the benefit, the biggest benefit, has been this is how you grow a culture, right? Growing a culture is about changing behaviors in individuals. And as I've asked my employees, or some might say demanded, that we measure these things and that we take the extra minute to assess our footprint, they have started to think about their impacts in a different way. And I think that that's really been effective in changing their behaviors, as I've found fewer and fewer aluminum cans in the trash and glass bottles in the trash. And I've found more and more examples of people getting real imaginative, employees getting more imaginative, and reusing products from home in the store, reusing products in the store, taking stuff from the trash from the store home, because they're thinking about how they can use these negative assets and create positives out of them. So just in conclusion, I would highly recommend the BEST program. A lot of what I've learned has come from that. The collaboration with the Riverwind Foundation has been it's been so helpful in helping guide me and guide my team to develop new strategies, and the act of measuring our waste on a day-to-day basis has created a real ability for us to sustain sustainability, because it's always front of mind. We all engage with it multiple times a day. So thanks for your time, and I'll hand it back to Tim.
Thanks very much, Wes. Thanks very much. That is a very practical way that we all could be keeping in the front of mind, as you said, Wes, about our sustainability efforts, and reminding not just ourselves, but our colleagues, our workers, about what we need to be doing, perhaps even on a daily basis, to sustain our sustainability effort. So thank you for that idea. Next, I'd like to introduce John Dyer. As I had mentioned before, John is the environmental manager at Grand Teton Lodge Company. John, please.
Thanks, Tim. Hello, everybody. I just want to thank Tim and Mary Ellen and Kerry for putting this together. This is a cool event. I'm excited. I've been a part of the steering committee with this 2.0 launch, so it's cool to get to this point and see a bunch of people on the call. So yeah, this is a really cool topic, talking about how to sustain sustainability, as Wes said. And Wes, yeah, awesome stuff, a lot of gems in there. And I'm really gonna, reiterate a lot of that, candidly. And when I think about it, it's a little different. I think my role in particular is a great example of kind of where I see the first step and the most important step. I'm unique in the way, we're a really large organization. And so we have the ability to have a person like me, right? That is, my job is really focused on this. I know that's not a reality for everyone. That being said, though, like what Wes just mentioned, I think is a more realistic and great model. The point is you need to have a lead, some sort of sustainability champion. You need that support from the top of the organization. I think that's the most important thing. So, if the organization is too small where you can't hire someone, that's okay. But the leadership needs to appoint, like Wes mentioned, he had his lead manager kind of take this on. So that needs to happen. He needs to be designated as someone's kind of formal role, even if it's in addition to whatever their main function might be. And to build on that, I would say the other big piece, ideally, that you would also embed sustainability into the organizational values. So your organization has a set of values, ideally, and you put that in there. So for us, we have the value of do good, and it's one of like 7 core values of the organization. So, everyone knows, all the employees know this is something that we work on and we value. And we have people like me in that role to back it up and build those programs out. I think the other big piece is really starting to engage all the employees with this new vision, or maybe it's building on that vision. So sustainability is a core thing of what your organization stands for, and communicating that to your teams. If it's more like a seasonal onboarding type of thing, that could be part of it, like a training that happens annually. It could just be having a standing thing at any type of leadership event, annual, quarterly meetings, or things like that. So you kind of start sharing that value and that vision to start building out that culture and creating systems and programs around that. So that, I think, is really the foundation, making the commitment and actually allocating some time and staff to seeing it through. From there, it's really starting to get down to, understanding what your organization does, right? Like, what is your organization's impact on the planet? So establishing kind of a baseline, key metrics around your ecological footprint. So understanding what does your energy use look like? What's your water use look like? What is your waste diversion? Have you done a waste audit? So really, as Kerry outlined in the beginning, that RRR business leaders kind of application/survey is really a great kind of framework to establish that baseline. That's really vital. You need to understand where you're at to build a vision for where you want to go. And then Tim mentioned the BEST program. Eventually that's kind of the next level of analyzing your operations that go well beyond just the environmental stuff, as does the RRR business leaders. But just want to point that out. It's not just about energy and waste. There's the community engagement and volunteerism and all these other things that are just as vital. And then beyond that, I think it's kind of taking that first step or taking that next step. Maybe it's ideas that are gathered from that survey. It could be just changing out lighting or low flow fixtures, green energy purchasing. Again, the waste audit. You'll get a lot of ideas through that. And there's other resources, people on this call, whether it's ISWR, the Riverwind Foundation, of course, but also Energy Conservation Works on the energy side, Yellowstone Teton Clean Cities on energy and transportation. So those can kind of start building out your menu, if you will, of where you really want to go. And once you understand kind of having a baseline, you'll start to see where the gaps are based on the questions, especially with the survey. And if you're not like recycling or composting, those are obviously good places to start. And then I'd say, at that point, it's a matter of like building out kind of a plan and a goal for continuous improvement. And so setting those goals in that plan, and then kind of iterating on the process. You start building that back in the beginning of like onboarding with the employees. Like, this is one of our values. This is our vision. And here are some steps that we're moving towards. And that's an iterative process, right? It's constantly changing. Once you do one thing, maybe next year it becomes a new initiative. It's all about building the culture, right? You gotta keep on it, keep people engaged with the topics, keep it top of mind is a part of what your organization does. And I think leading by example as a business leader is vital, like day to day, right? Like, you got to be the one recycling. You got to be the one turning off the lights. You got to be the one embodying like the things that you're talking about too. I know that might go without saying, but yeah. And then, I think building incentive programs around engaging employees is also kind of a good way of continuous improvement and building culture. For us, we have a PIN program where, we recognize, we tell all the managers basically to let me know or let management know when someone does anything out of kind of their ordinary role or tries to improve in a sustainable way. Maybe they come up with some cool waste idea, and we reward them with a pen, sometimes with other financial rewards and things like that. So those are just some ideas in terms of building culture. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I hope that was 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, John. And you used the full 5 minutes with a lot of rich ideas that my fingers are a little worn out from taking notes on each of these. But obviously, one of the things that you were talking about is that about making sure that the culture of our businesses, our operations, sees sustainability as part of it, as part of our culture, not just an add-on, and that there's various means and mechanisms for doing so, hopefully positive incentives as well as requirements, depending on the type of business and so forth. So thank you for all those ideas, of which I've listed. And I would remind everyone that if you have questions, feel free to use the chat room to raise your questions. We were paying attention to the chat room, and then we'll go into a Q&A period after our fourth panelist has spoken. Next up is Elizabeth Ferguson, who was with Habitat for Humanity, and she's now the project manager for New West Building. So Elizabeth, please take it away.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Tim, Mary Ellen, and Kerry for having me. Yes, as Tim said previously with Habitat for Humanity, which most of you probably know that. And now I'm with New West Building Company. I'm also an ISWR board member, involved in C&D waste. Yeah, just lots of, this is my world. I love this place and all of you. Mostly we'll be talking about what I have previously done with Habitat for Humanity. I'm kind of in the unique position where I'm new at a huge company and I'm starting to like implement these ideas and starting fresh. But in 2017, whenever I started with Habitat, we did the survey and applied. It was actually Lindsay Inger was a hotshot at that time and came and did the survey with us. And, you know, Habitat as an organization kind of has 3 pillars that we work in, you know, office, outreach, and then we have our restore and then the construction site. So we were able to kind of use this program in all 3 of those places. You know, we did the zero waste construction site, which was really awesome and a great way actually to get more people involved in this program because we were recycling on the site. And each day when we had volunteers come, they were able to interface with that program. So that was kind of like a volunteerism portion of it. And then in the restore, you know, kind of in the business front of Habitat as an organization, we created a waste diversion tracker, which was super helpful that worked with our POS system. So we were able to give Kerry and Mary Ellen numbers each year of how much waste is coming in, not necessarily waste, but how much furniture is coming into the restore from donations and then going out the restore being reused and recycled in our community. So that was honestly the most helpful tool with this program that helped Habitat, because then we were able to quantify how many couches we were selling and how much those couches weighed. So that was really awesome. And then, you know, in the outreach portion, we used this program and the community partnership grant to do things like upcycling workshops and repair cafes, which were great ways to get people, you know, into the restore and teaching them, you know, about reusing, reducing, and recycling. You know, some of the challenges I think that we saw with sustainability was staff turnover. You know, each time we would, you know, restore staff turns over pretty quickly, and just doing that training again of, you know, this is metal, it can go in the metal bin. This is, you know, this is how we recycle our household waste in our break room. So I think that, you know, things that I could now looking back would have improved is just like, you know, having that as part of our employee handbook, I think would have been a really awesome thing to, you know, addition to think about, you know, benefiting this program. And then, you know, something we also tried to work with Yellowstone Clean Cities because we have kind of a fleet, and that wasn't successful either. So my replacement, I just actually texted him before this meeting. I was like, you need to get back on that clean fleet thing. Yeah, so lost my place. That's pretty much, you know, thinking of of how this program benefited Habitat. You know, again, I'm in a unique position where I'm also learning on this call because I'm starting, you know, what John was saying is, you know, in a bigger company where I was the person at Habitat who was the green team leader. And now, you know, that was so crucial. Mary Ellen has a picture of me in a trash can pulling out, you know, cardboard and plastic that roofers had put in. So I think that's such a crucial part of, you know, developing this program, is having someone who is reliable and responsible for, you know, sustainability efforts. That's pretty much it. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks to Elizabeth. And obviously there's some intangibles that are hard to measure, but are absolutely necessary for all of us to sustain our sustainable journeys. What's our inner motivations? What kind of people do we need to appoint as team leaders or to be as team leaders? It's important to be passionate, but also how are you able to dedicate the time and energy necessary to follow through with the commitments you've made to yourself and to your organization business for sustainability. So having that reliability as well as passion is very, very important. Thank you, Elizabeth. Last and certainly not least, Raleigh Francis Harris is the operations manager of the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce. Raleigh Francis, would you like to speak, please?
Yeah, thank you, Tim, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for having me on the call. Elizabeth, when I think about sustainability, you always come to mind, no matter where I am. So I love hearing the ins and outs of what you guys are doing at your old place of work and now at the new company. So thanks for sharing that, and to everyone else who shared. So one thing that we at the Chamber have learned over time, I've been there about 3 years now, is that little things that we can do every day are what really make a difference. We're in kind of a unique situation because we rent a building that not only houses our staff of 13, but it also houses multiple tenants that we have. So no matter how much we train and talk to our own staff internally about sustainability, there's this whole other group of people that are sharing our same building that are also putting waste in the waste baskets and also using the same lights and you know, faucets and that kind of thing. So it's been really interesting in terms of setting examples without having to talk about it, because, you know, we're not always there when tenants are around versus like we might be when staff is around. So things like implementing faucet aerators into all of our sinks that reduce the water flow. Things like you know, cutting people's lights off if they forget to do that when they leave. Things like kind of setting the example to try and reduce paper as much as possible. Things like that that seem kind of obvious are things that we have realized you know, over the course of a year really make a difference. So when I first joined the Chamber, the person who was in my place before me was such a fabulous kind of steward for all things sustainability, and she did a really great job of setting things into place. But it's been a learning curve, and it felt a little bit intimidating at first. Like, how can we get this whole company and all of these people that we work around to really get passionate about this and get on board with this, in addition to their jobs that they're doing? And so it's been I keep coming back to all the little things that we do on a daily basis are what has made a big difference year over year. And also having fun with it. You know, we have an initiative every summer among our own staff, you know, how many people can ride their bike to work the most. And then we have some kind of, you know, small get together, a prize or something for the winner, but making sure that it's something that people start to really care about and have fun with is something that I've also has found makes a big difference. Because if, you know, there certainly was a point in time where I was kind of just telling people, this is what we need to do, this is why it's important, this, and until you really get people invested in understanding how it can be something that can change their life individually versus a company as a whole is what we have noticed at the Chamber. Another thing that we you know, we have 900 plus chamber members, and we spend a lot of efforts trying to be a resource, a sustainable business resource for other people, other businesses that are looking to make their business a little bit more sustainable. So we have a pretty robust blog. We're working on an social media initiative where, you know, once a week there's a couple different tips that people can implement to their businesses. Little things like that that we continue to promote and talk about. Working with Tim for the best certification has been really enlightening for the chamber. It's amazing to kind of go through that full process, and admittedly it felt like a lot at first, and over time realized, I mean, I feel like I've said this 12 times since we've been on here, but every little thing that we could do that feels tangible in itself, and then as a big group, really makes a huge difference. And people that aren't really involved with sustainability notice it. So it's been really exciting and really valuable to work with Tim and the team there and getting our business best certified. So we are really excited about the evolving of this program. Excited to help be a resource for anyone, and also excited to learn from everyone else. You know, we're in it with everybody else, and we are constantly trying to evolve how we're doing things and do things better. So I think that's all I've got for the moment, Tim. Great.
Thank you, Riley Francis. And it is so true, whether it's about sustaining our sustainability journey, and the journey starts with the first step, and that's what a journey is. In this case, very much true as well with sustainability efforts, is just continue to make one step forward. And another cliche is you can't eat an elephant in one bite, so break it down into increments that you can work with initial successes, with hopefully the low-hanging fruit of things like waste management, energy efficiency, and conservation. Create those initial successes, momentum for you and your colleagues, and then you're off and running on what you can do next. But it is those little things, and they do add up. And so there's the human element of patience that is required for someone who's on a sustainability journey, which may not have, no pun intended, a destination, but is still worthwhile embarking on as well. So thank you for those points as well, Riley Francis. I'd like to open it up to any questions that anyone may have, which please either in the chat room or raise your hand from your window, from your box in Zoom, and I'll call upon you.
Tim,
Okay.
I'll just add something in. Something that
Yes.
we would do is take our new staff members on recycling center tours, and then understanding just how our Jackson recycling system works, and then being able to explain that to customers and also to volunteers. That was just so helpful to, you know, to have those resources and see it. And I think that was probably the most helpful, especially at the restore, whenever we would say we can't take that or can't recycle this, and then be able to explain why, which I love that.
Yeah, and Elizabeth, you underline a really key point. On our call right now, we have some of the key resources for our community. You know, Phil Cameron's here with Energy Conservation Works, as is Amy Walton with Low Value Energy. Those are go-to folks when it comes to energy efficiency and green power and renewables. When it comes to alternative fuels and transportation, we have Alicia Cox, I believe, and certainly Bailey Collins is here as well. Obviously with waste management, we've got Kerry Bell here as well with ISWR, and Becky Kiefer and Carolyn. So we do have actually not just people that work in these specific areas, but they're quite expert. And I can say that given the work I do outside of Jackson Hole, that we have not just strong resources, we have excellent resources that if you're a business and you're wondering what is an energy audit about? How do I get range for energy audit? Is there financial support for me to pay for an energy audit or implement any of the conclusions that come from energy audit? Well, then we have energy conservation works in low value energy. If you're trying to think about, I'd like to start, if you got vehicles for your fleet or your business, then, and if you want to lower your carbon emissions and you're thinking about how can you do that through changing the fuels you use, then we have Bailey Collins and Alicia Cox for that, and so on. So we've got great resources in a number of areas besides just the ones I just mentioned as well. There is a question, have a question with regards that, and this is for all the panelists, so I'll allow you to jump in as you will among the four of you, is let me read it. What has been the most significant benefit of having a sustainability program, and what has been your most significant challenge with the sustainability program? So what's your most significant benefit and challenge? So of our panelists, who would like to jump in on that first? Oh, Riley Francis.
So two instant things come to mind. The biggest benefit that we have found is the ability to talk to visitors about sustainable efforts and sustainable business, and how to, simple ways that they can contribute while they're here. With a visitor service team who, gets phone calls all day and has people walking in off the street, learning about Jackson, what they should do. We're really seamlessly able to kind of slide into conversation, sustainable related things that they can do. And that's been really beneficial, because I feel like, there's not a ton of towns that, well, I guess there are, but having people from outside of Jackson that are coming in, that are recreating here, having them kind of right when they get here, be in that kind of same mindset, or at least hear what we value, and that's important for our town and our community, and the, places that people recreate around here. That's been something that's been really beneficial, having that direct contact with people coming here. The biggest challenge that we've found has been, it seems silly, but the fact that we don't own the building that we rent. Our hands are a little bit tied with our ability to change all the light bulbs and simple things that I think we would like to adjust, but we're not able to, simply because we don't own the building.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just a logistical thing that we've run into, but yeah, that's my final answer.
Yeah. Well, you pass. Yeah. Yes, Wes, I think you raised your hand. Go ahead, please.
I would say the biggest benefit to me and to our organization has been the community that we've happened upon, and the support that we've gotten from members of that community, the encouragement we've gotten from members of that community, and the ability that we've had to participate and reciprocate that. We're all out here trying to do the best we can, and it's important to recognize we're not alone, because sometimes it does feel like the problems that we're facing are insurmountable when you look at the scale of what we're dealing with. And it's important to know that that there are 200 members of this, and that we're all working, we're all pulling the same direction. And I would say beyond that, and to give a particular, my manager came to me a while ago and asked if I would buy iPads for the stores, and I was like, well, they're kind of expensive. What's the point? And she was like, well, I think we can do our stock list on iPads instead of printing, paper to do our stock list. And this is an example of what I mean when I say you put somebody in charge who's going to take it seriously and going to use her imagination to think through problems and think through the negative asset of a piece of paper, and then think about, okay, we've got 4 businesses, we do these lists, dozens of times a week. This is the ultimate benefit to a program like this. Somebody who never thought about this before is now thinking about it, is now encouraged by the owner to challenge me, right, to be better at what I do and create a better system. And so for me, it's the benefits have been just, we are changing the way that we run our business. I can't say enough about how proud I am of my team and that person that I put in charge, that she's constantly thinking in this way. I would say challenges, you know, the flip side is not everybody thinks this way. So the challenge is the constant struggle against the entropy that we're talking about. It's the subject of this conversation in the second half. How do we sustain sustainability? You know, and I think that John had a good point. It starts with good leadership. When my staff see me take their recyclable garbage out of the garbage can and put it in recycling, it makes an impact. And if it doesn't, I make sure that it does. But I would say that's the biggest challenge. And of course, some, you know, I, like Riley, I don't have full control over my building. So I'm working with Phil on a way to get my green power through buying energy blocks as opposed to signing up for green power, because that access is denied to me. So I guess the benefit is that there's a lot of people like us. The challenge is that there's a lot of people not like us. So
True enough.
I'll leave it at that.
Great feedback, Wes. John, Elizabeth, anything you'd like to add?
I'll go very quickly. One of probably the biggest thing that was a benefit was cost savings on our construction site with waste and working within, you know, a tight budget and being able to divert and cost save. And then again, I said this, but challenges was really just our staff turnover and retraining, you know, this into everyone's brain. So as an organization, we were thinking, you know, holistically.
Yep. Thank you, Elizabeth. John, anything to add? It's confirmed.
No, I think everybody covered everything I would have said. You know, positive, engaged culture is probably the biggest benefit. It's sustainability, but I think it encourages a good culture beyond that even, right? Because people are working towards something cool. And yeah, there's cost savings too on the energy side. But yeah, staff turnover, big challenge. Getting guests to engage in your programs effectively is a huge challenge. And then, you know, innovating to the next level. Like, what does that look like, you know, on the journey? I think those are some of the biggest challenges. And composting in a national park.
Composting in a national park. There is that, yes. Great, thanks, John. All right, well, good conversation. I really like what you four have been able to share about your experience with sustaining your sustainability journey, as well as what benefits you've realized and what challenges you've seen along the way. What I'd like to do now is turn it over to Mary Ellen to wrap up our information session. So Mary Ellen.
Thanks, everyone. This has been a great discussion, as always. We'll do a very quick wrap up that just is announcements for what to look for next. So those of you who are members, we'll start with the nuts and bolts. There will be invoices for your membership dues going out in July. So that becomes fiscal year 2022 for Teton County. So that's when you'll be next invoice for your dues. And the dues will be $50 per year instead of the $25. And that is a change that's probably a long time coming. There has not been an increase in those dues in many, many years. And now hopefully you will have the feeling and the fulfilling feeling that your dues are coming back to you in a way, and also benefiting organizations that share your values and share your work. But we'll have more about that coming via email from ISWR. The grant program, as I mentioned, will be in process late August and early September. So look for announcements about applications and then about the process to select our first grant awardees. A next info session like this one will be in the fall timeframe, and we will keep you posted about topics. If you have an idea of something you'd like to hear about, or a speaker you'd like to hear, or a subject you'd like us to do some research on and report back to you, please let us know. And then if you're interested in getting more involved in the operation of this program, we have a steering committee of volunteers. And it's very informal at this point. I think longer term, we'll need some structure around how this runs. But right now, anybody who wants to help, we can put you to work, and it can be on your schedule and the amount of time that you can devote. So please reach out. And when I say reach out, I think the best, Tim has put his contact information here. And then ISWR, of course, on the business leaders website, there is the information to contact them. So by reaching out to any of, or through any of those channels, you will reach all of us. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great to get together, and I'm really excited for what comes next.
Yes, yes, indeed. Kerry, would you like to say any closing notes?
Thank you all so much for coming. This really was a great event. Really appreciate this presentations from all of our presenters. It was amazing. This was a phenomenal first info session. And yeah, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And if anybody wants a tour, we're almost back into tour time. So that's the best part of this position is our tours. So.
Yep, great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for attending our first information session. We hope you will attend our next one, and we are going to be staying engaged between now and then with contact via email and more information on things such as what Mary Ellen talked about with our grants program and other opportunities for networking. So thank you again for spending the hour with us, and we will be in touch. Take good care.
Thanks, everyone. Well, that was awesome.
Kerry and Mary Ellen, do you want to stay on just for a minute or two more?
Yeah.
We've got a few more folks that are signing off.
Hi, Julie. Thanks, Phil.
Hey, Julie.
Julie. Hi, Phil.
I'll say hi and bye. Great job. That was an awesome turnout and a good program.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Look at you. Is that neck?
That's the
shoulder
real
length
thing,
hair.
Tim. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
Coming off soon. I'm 2 weeks
Really?
post-vaccination, so
Oh,
probably try to get it cut soon. But awesome job. I'll let you all catch up and do your thing, but thanks for the program.
you bet. Yeah. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Okay. So it's alone again,
people.
naturally, the three of us. So
I'm gonna stop.